children are not.
They are terrorists that's killing people.
Ain't no terrorists, man. What's up with you, man? Ho, ho. Can we get back to this? Let's get back to this. Can I get a...
They are not terrorists.
You don't even have a high school
They
there.
made wrong decisions don't mean they are terrorists.
Let's get one more guest. Get back.
Excuse me, I want to talk.
They are not terrorists. There is no national
This
law.
is why we ain't getting together, because we out of unity. We got to get back in unity. Be there for one another. Why do the people not going to help them?
Now, if I'd have did that, they'd have put me out, right or wrong. If I'd have did that, they'd have put me out. They'd have had to call the police. I'm out of here. You feel me? Well, I got next.
My name is first and foremost, our children are our future. The resources that we're spending to arrest and miseducate can clearly be diverted to the homes and the communities. You can identify resource centers in each one of these entities and put those resources there and support the parents, because clearly we do not make cocaine in America. Okay, and I don't have all the time to really lay out the dynamics of what is happening in our community, but it's by design. And we understand there are many advocates that are around here, and we're watching, and we know exactly what is happening, and we will not.
Yes.
We will not allow you to assassinate our future.
Yeah.
So for you, brother, it's because you're misunderstood. I had three nephews that was murdered in Baltimore City, and I forgive those because they really didn't know what they were doing. They are not terrorists, but we do have to. We have to. First, I didn't interrupt you.
Well, I got next.
We must first start with love in our homes. And when our parents are
Excuse me.
support them.
All right.
Now, I hope
The violence in Baltimore is behind the war on drugs. They ain't gonna let me get a chance to talk, so I'm gonna say it myself.
Mayor Kurt Smoke
You feel me?
said best.
It's
Take
about,
the
if you want to do it, change.
element of the financing out and treat it as an illness, because it's exactly what
In the war on drugs, and it'll eliminate a lot of this violence. And it's still slavery. We are slaves to this economic.
Let's get back to some of our questions. I want to get back to the panel.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, time will be back. We'll have more and one at a time.
And
I got
thank you.
next.
Yes, I know it's a lot.
Excuse me,
I wanna get back
Mackenzie,
to
I got
the
next.
Archives
I'ma
Renaissance
take
question
next.
for a second here, because you were making a good point about that. I didn't want to cut you off, but we know that there have been some promises made, but not necessarily promises kept, and a deadline was enacted in terms of getting some of this work done. Are you familiar with what happened and why those deadlines weren't met?
Well, I alluded to some of that previously. I think that when you have an organization that has a limited budget, but then you have $3.5 million, like I said, there was $4 million that came in in slots revenue, but PHR got $500,000. Then the other $3.5 million is the problem. It's where did that money go? It's not necessarily what the PHR do with their money. It's what happened to the other $3.5 million.
Right.
That has come in for the last decade. All right, we've been getting slots revenues in Park Heights since 2010. Okay, that's not all blamed on one entity. That's blamed on lack of oversight at the state level. So if we're saying that that we had $38 million in Park Heights as a total in slots revenue, well, PHR didn't get $38 million. So where did the rest of the money go, and where is it sitting?
And what's your estimate of where that money is?
And I think that's
Well,
the
we can go
issue.
to taxpayer
Now, I will
dollars.
say this.
Let me get to this point real quick. We do need to point
I
out
will say
again,
this.
yes, let me point this out. We did invite our top elected leaders for the 6th district,
Sure.
which many of you all live here, of course, to attend. Councilwoman and Vice President of the City Council, Sharon Green Middleton, as you know, initially did accept our invitation. We're pointing this out because it's noteworthy, but she canceled, saying that she had a conflict. We also offered to hold the town hall on any day at any hour that would accommodate Ms. Middleton, and her assistant said that she's booked solid for at least the next 2 months. That's what Fox 45 was told. We also did invite Mayor Brandon Scott, but he too was refusing to come out and attend this town hall and hear from the people tonight. So we wanted to point that out. We also wanted to point out that we have been at Ms. Middleton's home in the area. We have a camera out there. We did see her moving back and forth. I don't know about her schedule, but
That's bogus.
Again, we didn't see
That's
something
bogus.
that
I got
created a
next.
conflict of interest or book schedule. Fox 45 is out there tonight. I just want to talk about that. Let's get to crime, though. We have another pressing issue in the 6th district, and you all talked about this, and that's crime. Here's how the district stacks up to other city council districts, and we should point this out. Council District 6 leads the city in and carjackings. That's been a problem in Baltimore in general. There's even a task force that deals with it. But it's also in the middle of the pack for homicides and also shootings. And I want someone to talk about this. Ms. Jones, let's start with you. Violent crime in Baltimore is out of control. You're hearing from people say that here in the audience tonight. Do you think people don't fear legal consequences for their behavior? Or what do you think is the reason for the drive in that crime, Ms. Jones?
So, and I say this as an educator in my heart, is that crime is the sneeze. It is an after effect of so many other things. It is when people do not have education, job training, job opportunities, family sustaining, wage earning jobs, and the equality equation. You know, I know it's really easy, and sister in the back, I heard you when you talked about your elected officials, and we should hold the people that are elected responsible for what they do on their watch. But let's be honest. In order to fix a crime issue, in order to fix a housing issue, in order to fix an education issue, it takes a concerted effort, and this is what the equality equation is about. Government, private industry, nonprofits, citizens working together to 3 economic drivers. And that is workforce development, because it can pencil out, have social impact, and be economically viable for private developers. Sports and recreation, somebody else said it, because that can also pencil out for developers, but heal the community. And then really to bring quality health care. And all 3 of these things working together in tandem, not trying to pick out one thread when you have a whole system that has worked collectively to keep a community where it is, then all of those systems have to then work together to help heal it. And it can't happen with one piece. It has to happen as a concert.
How do you get those other parties to the table?
Well, I will tell you.
Yes, they've been very receptive to what we presented. Yolanda with PHR, Mayor Scott, and even in our campaign with Taurus here, I created his campaign as his campaign to, sort of bash Sharon Middleton. But when you finally sit down and talk to her, you understand that she loves the community. The problem is that everybody, if it's 60 people in here, there's 45 ideas that everybody wants to bring. But when you bring real laid out plans that include honoring politicians and their need to be in the spotlight, honoring the citizens and their need to heal, whether it's education, sports and recreation, or health, then you're able to include everybody.
Mr. Jones.
You cannot exclude a politician and create incendiary types of atmospheres where what happens is everybody got a bone to pick, and as soon as you say their bone, they raise up and they're ready to go. And one thing I do want to also catch too, because we were talking about crime.
Right.
Professor Larry
That's
Gifford
my next question.
Yeah, he got a lot of pushback a couple of weeks ago in regards to pointing out that Baltimore's crime has actually dropped. The homicide has stayed steadily the same.
Black lives over the past 10 years.
Yeah, but if you compare that to what's happening nationally, nobody's out here. Hey, listen. Hey, puff your chest down. Take it all the way down to 0. Because I'm not that guy. I am not that guy.
They're going to love their way out.
3,000 black lives.
Yes.
Hey! Y'all get to pop off and I got to shut up. You running nothing? You running what? I'm going to be rude in a minute.
I got a question. Are the policies of the
Man,
city
this shit ain't.
fueling some of the problems, Jones?
Absolutely.
If you ain't ending the war on drugs, you ain't dealing with the problem, the root of the problem.
And what they're essentially saying,
Period.
we're not going to arrest frivolously.
I have
people
been.
that are
10 years.
That don't harm anybody.
10 years I've been waiting.
So that is that when Reagan brought in the war on drugs, it was just a move from Nixon in '72, who
Upgraded it.
explicitly stated this is to keep the prison industrial complex going. It has just changed the
Exactly.
market. Right now, it's just the school to prison pipeline.
Yep. Cradle to prison pipeline.
If you ignore trends, and I'm not jumping on you, Giovanni, But if you ignore trends, if you say in Baltimore, the policy that the state's attorney put in has reduced crime as in comparison to the United States, where all these other cities are having 25% growth in homicides, ours is staying steady, and our crime is...
You ain't talking about ending the war on drugs.
And
You cherry picking who talking at this. You ain't nobody talking about ending the war on drugs, and this was invented like this.
Mr. Jones, you know there's people, but you know there are people who disagree with you who believe that those...
It's history on it.
Announcing this is
This is how it goes. When Schaefer, when Denning,
Created
O'Malley,
this.
when they're mayor,
Plantation.
as the white messiah.
Plantation politics.
When Brandon Scott, and probably the greatest mayor we ever had, Kurt Swope, was in the spot. It was always crime that was an issue.
All right, Mr.
Policy.
Let me get first.
We ain't gonna get a chance to speak what we gonna say. This shit gonna get out of hand.
Go ahead. I was gonna say,
And what it is they stirring the pot. It's time to lick the spoon.
The community is not really happy with the way, even if the crime rate is going down, I think it's pretty clear that the community is not satisfied with the crime rate where it's at. It's still high. At the end of the day, it's still high. So I think more can be done. And even if you decriminalize things, not prosecute lower level crimes, I believe the resources should follow. I don't see the resources following the crimes that are no longer being prosecuted, such as prostitution.
Right.
That's something my community association, we talk about all the time that we don't want to see in our community. Okay, we don't lock them up, but where are the resources for those individuals?
Right.
Where are the resources for the drug addicts?
Right, well, so far, though, Baltimore's seen 182 murders so far this year. It's more than this time last year. What do you say to that mother, their father, that aunt, that grandmother who's lost their kid? Saying that crime rate has gone down doesn't mean anything to them if they've lost a child.
Yeah, you can't take what the real problem is, and it's economics. Economics changes everything. If we come in and to redevelop our whole economics changes things. To pull out in a silo that this is
Economics is part of
economics is the big why in the world
Let me get Mr. Hannon.
Man, Mr. Hannon, would you let me talk? Would you give me a talk?
In the 60s and how people weren't making good money.
And you know what happened in the 60s? And you know what happened in the 60s?
We took each other.
What turned it over?
Hold up.
What turned it
I
over?
wasn't gonna say, let's go back to the old school. Your child did something, I correct your child. That's what it's all about. We need to go back to the old school.
If we keep growing with race, we've been distracted.
We
This
need to
is
go
all
back to the
distractions.
old
So what's
school.
going on
You
now?
see your child doing something?
Now, if I jumped up like this, if I'd have jumped up like this, you'd have put me out. If I'd have jumped, look, if I'd have did this, they'd have been putting me the fuck up out of here by now. This some bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. If I'd have jumped up like this, Fox would have been putting me out of here. Shut it down. I want next. You feel me? I want next. And we're gonna talk about the war on drugs. We're gonna talk about how Fox been doing this. I ain't sure shit. I ain't sure nothing. I don't know how to shoot. No. End the war on drugs and that'll stop the violence. Start spending that money the right way.
When you look at developing a community, right? When you look at the entire thing of developing a community, it is difficult. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this number, 45 million.
Facts. In the war on drugs. Because Fox made a lot of money. Alec, the corporation, spends a lot of money on Fox 45. Yeah, exactly. Fox 45 get paid by Alec, the corporation. That's why she in this neighborhood. They get paid to exploit black tragedies. They ain't got no solutions. They stir the pot. 2020, they gonna lick the spoon. I'm gonna, hey, no, you ain't told none of them to sit down and shut up. Hey.
It is economic, but it's
I
hard
ain't
to
doing
go to
shit.
the real estate portion and the values in our communities if we don't fix crime. And you can do both things at the same time. You can stop crime and hire people and train the same people and do the exact same thing at the same time. You have to do it on two tracks. You can't do one. You can't build a bunch of nice shiny buildings and say that we're going to change this neighborhood. And you can't say we're going to train people and not redevelop the community. And you have to do them both at the same time. So there has to be human development along with community development at the same time. We're not developing people, we're not changing the neighborhood.
Okay, let me point this out too. I think it's also important to note and to point out that Councilwoman Sherry Middleton, I've been saying this, we're going to continue to say it, because she should be here tonight. According to a lot of the folks right here in this audience, we did ask her to come out.
Man, you see, that ain't right.
Fox 45 had a camera at her home. We don't know why she wasn't here tonight, but she declined to
We
come
put
out.
that camera in Fox face, and Fox don't want to answer the question. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
That's sensationalizing.
You keep pushing that issue. We talking about the people that's here. The people are here.
Parade on Fox from our community that consistently tear us down in that manner. We know it's economics. You only treat, like my wife said, a sneeze when you try to figure out how we do something with these children. It's economics. We start from the top. The wealth in a city lies in its real estate assets. Why does the housing commissioners always have these kind of backdoor deals that's going on? And then when you spoke about PHR and what this young lady is doing, I know for a fact that she helped us stop a procurement that was going through with the city that had got infiltrated by some people that were not for our best interest. So when you talk about this lady in PR, she's been there for what, a year? If that? It's transient. So you look back, and when they stopped funding that, it's because she came in and they could not control the director.
I'm gonna sit down when I feel like I'm gonna leave in a minute because it's some bullshit. I'm gonna leave in a minute. My back hurt. And declaring that because it getting ready to leave because Fox on that bullshit. The Rue on some bullshit. This whole meeting is some bullshit. They ain't gonna talk about the issues. I'm leaving because it's some bullshit. Mike, check. I holler. I'm gone. Shit, I care about this shit. That bullshit. I'm going. I'll be at the next one. I'll be at the next one. Enjoy your evening. They gotta come outside. I can stand on the corner. This the church, and they talking about the problems here in Park Heights. And we know the problems come from the war on drugs. If you ain't talking about ending the war on drugs, we're gonna keep killing each other. I buried my son at 16. You feel me? I'm 62 years old. I've been on the street since 72. Ain't nothing changed. I'm shorty.
I couldn't think of your name.
I'm shorty. And now, they just put me out because this is town hall. They just trying to beat up the politicians. They stirring the pot. It's time for Fox 45 to lick the spoon.
Oh, Fox 45 is code word for racism.
Code word for racism. That's, yes.
You've been put out a better place.
I done got put out again. Look at them. They deep. The Rue up here, with this, you look at all these trifling people they got. They just got trifling people up in this church. Say it out your mouth and mean it.
Each time I talk to him, I try to extend my hand.
No, I want to, because you don't be, I'm not a friend of me, dude. No. Malcolm X taught me about being friends with your enemy. That don't work. The Rue ain't never did nothing in the community. The Rue ain't never did nothing in the community but lock people up. I ain't seen nothing that the Rue did in the community. Has he fed a homeless person? Has he put shoes on somebody's feet? Yes. Did he kick the dog? Show me, because all I hear about you talking about locking somebody up. Do you talk about ending the war on drugs? Because that's the bait. Well, then when? I don't never hear. I hear about you like, no, weed. I don't never hear you on stage talking about it. What you say on the side and what you do is two different things. They call that snakes. They call that snake. Ain't no Google. Google is what I do.
The Rue Vignaraja, marijuana.
Marijuana. No, legalize everything, because when they had prohibition, you was killing white people. Now that you killing black people, you want to keep killing black people. No, I ain't no see what happened. I'm a free black man.
I don't curse on camera.
What this cursing got to do? You say what you got to say on camera. This is raw, uncut. He ain't nothing dignified about him. Ain't nothing dignified about him.
You don't like actually having a debate.
No. These debates is.
You know you'll lose the debate.
Lose what, dog? No. You take that psychological shit somewhere else. I ain't never lost a case in court, and ain't no lawyer never beat me in court. So ain't nobody beat me in the street. So don't tell me what I can't do.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Ask me.
So we have oxy and painkillers that are legal right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
How's that going? Is that going good or bad?
It's going wonderful because it was by design. The people that you asked me a question, right? You asked me a question, right?
Yeah.
The war on drugs is designed by that. When Governor O'Malley went to the Middle East in his last 6 months, he brought in that oxy and fentanyl. You gonna let me finish? You gonna let me finish? No. I want you to. No. Go ahead. Here goes again. Legalize it all. When people came back from Vietnam, they was high on heroin. They was stuck on heroin. That golden triangle. You feel me? And they've been stuck on drugs ever since the 60s. The only reason that y'all want to do this, you recycle this every 10 years.
Okay, so we agreed to disagree about that.
No. Legalize it. Call it a day. Like the same way that you decriminalize.
Legalizing and regulating and taxing marijuana.
Yes,
I think
and
we
the same
should
thing with the
legalize-
Oxycontin, because you taxing the Oxycontin, you taxing the heroin, you got synthetic heroin. If you don't stop it, you're gonna still have the violence. If you don't stop it, you're gonna still have the violence.
Your approach of trying to intimidate people.
I don't intimidate nobody, and y'all don't intimidate me. Y'all lock me up. You feel me? I ain't locked up no more. That's not intimidation. That's a free man, and that's what black people do. You feel me? You just that shine on. He put me out because I talk about ending the war on drugs. They locked me up in 2011 because I put a toilet in the Thousand Courthouse about the same stuff that they talking about, right? But now I'm an advocate in the community. I feed the community. These people don't do nothing but get on the stage and stir the pot. Now when it's time to lick the spoon, they want to put somebody out. You feel me?
That's why I'm sitting out here.
Man, look. And remember when Jesus' last days, he turned over the tables in the church. You mad because I'm turning over the tables in the church? You call security all you want. Mike, check! I've been put out of better places than this.